Hi everyone, welcome to week 6 of Read 516. As always, we will be going over our upcoming assignments. Okay, so for week 6, our focus is administering the QRI, so you should be going over that in your QRI 5 book. You have chapters 1 through 5, pages 1 through 39. Watch the video, the QRI video clips in part 1 of the DVD. This is only about 15 minutes. Also skim the QRI 5 materials in chapter 14, pages 99 through 450. So as you can see, this is a pretty broad range, but you're going to need to pick and choose what areas would most benefit you in administering the QRI to your student. So the assignments that are due are WAPR number 4, and also just prepare for the QRI 5. There are a lot of details involved in that, so I would spend my time looking over that carefully and making notes on what needs to be done to administer it. Okay, so looking forward into your last session with your student, our focus is fluency and comprehension. You are expected to do narrative and expository, so please make sure you are timing this wisely. And also at the end, we will be doing a celebration and wrap up with students. So when I say at the end, we will do our normal 1 hour of 1 hour session, and then after, when the parents all come to pick up the student, we will be doing certificates at that point. Here are some options for your fluency assessments. You have the 1-minute time fluency, okay, the MASSER, and running record of any text. All right, so kind of just looking forward, we have the WAPR due October 8th. You have the 5th one due October 15th. And then your diagnostic report due October 16th in class. And this will be a hard copy. So a few things coming up, but by now I feel like many of you are very comfortable with the WAPR, so these are shouldn't be too bad. Your diagnostic report may seem overwhelming at first, but please use your WAPR information to assist you with that. So our main focus of our lecture is fluency. So I kind of just want to give you an introduction to fluency. We're not going to go way into depth because it's a very broad topic, but I do want you to know about fluency and how it affects comprehension. All right, so our session objectives is to explain the construct of fluency and appropriate means for measuring fluency. So we only have one objective, so hopefully I can make this a quick one. All right, everybody's talking about it. Fluency was the hot thing when the National Reading Panel discussed how it affects comprehension. So what exactly is fluency? It consists of 3 components: accuracy, automaticity, and prosody. Why is fluency important? Well, it provides a bridge between word recognition and reading comprehension. Fluent readers can focus their attention on the meaning of the text. So our goal is to have our students reading fluently, so they're not attending to specific words, but they can attend to the overall meaning of the text. Students who are unable to read a text fluently, they're mostly reading word by word or focusing on decoding, and this in fact can really harm their comprehension. So they're attending to the words, not to the meaning. Okay, basic automaticity. According to CRLP, basic automaticity refers to students' ability to correctly identify most words quickly and effortlessly. Students who lack basic automaticity read accurately but very slowly. Whoops, sorry about that. but very slowly. So these students spent a lot of time sounding out the words. They have difficulty making meaning because they are too busy sounding out the words. They tend to skip words when reading silently. And often these students dislike and try to avoid reading. So you can see that fluency definitely can have an impact on a student's attitude towards reading. Okay, so the Common Core State Standards for ELA. Oh, let me go back here really quick. So this is CRLP, which is the California Reading and Literature Project. So the Common Core State Standards for ELA, they identify the following components of fluency: accuracy, rate, and prosody. They do not identify automaticity. However, let's think about automaticity and how this can affect your accuracy, rate, and prosody. So if you don't have that automatic word knowledge or word recognition, it's definitely going to affect your accuracy and your rate and your prosody. So to me, automaticity is very important when you are trying to get these other components of fluency as well. All right, so just an overview chart of the components of fluency. So we're going to go by CRLP. We have accuracy, automaticity, and prosody, and here are the characteristics. So accuracy being most words are read correctly. Automaticity, most words are read quickly and effortlessly. Prosody, the text is read with expression and natural phrasing. Okay, how are these measured? Accuracy is usually a % correct. Automaticity is a reading rate in words correct per minute. In prosody, informal teacher assessment of intonation and phrasing. Okay, so literacy framework components, word recognition and spelling strategies, the automaticity component of fluency, and this involves all areas of the framework, especially comprehension. So instructional implications to achieve proficiency, you'd want phonological awareness, phonics and sight words. Here you want massive practice reading appropriate level text out loud to oneself, development of subject knowledge, vocabulary, and academic language. And the reason why you'd want development in subject matter knowledge and vocabulary and academic language, once you get to more sophisticated text, especially with expository, you're going to have a lot of academic language, and that can definitely affect your prosody, as opposed to narrative, where it has more, usually tends to have more simple language. Students, generally speaking, have prosody with narrative and then struggle with expository text because the subject matter is different. They may not be familiar with it, and they may not understand the vocabulary or even read the vocabulary words. So here are prerequisite skills. So in order to have accuracy, to read the words correctly, concepts of print. In order to have automaticity, you need to have this accuracy. And then prosody, you need to have that automaticity. So if you're sounding out the words and reading word by word, you're lacking with prosody. That's a deficit. All right, so fluency. As a reading specialist, it is important to know that saying a student has poor fluency has no diagnostic value. So if you hear someone say, that child needs to work on his reading fluency, well, that's more of an umbrella term, and we need to be more specific when we discuss a student's fluency. So what exactly does that mean? Is it low accuracy, low reading rate? Is it expressionless, word by word reading? Okay, and again, we need to be more precise because depending on the area that the student needs more instruction, you would gear your instruction to that area. So if there was low accuracy, you'd be working with phonics and decodables. Is a student expressionless, then you would probably be working on maybe like reader's theater or modeling how to read with prosody. So we don't just want to say the student has poor fluency. We need to be more precise. Okay, so accuracy, what is it? A measure of students, sorry, the typo, word recognition, measured as a percentage calculated by dividing the number of words read correctly by the number of words read. So you guys did this with your running records. Students low in accuracy often need instruction in phonological awareness, phonics, and/or sight words. Okay, moving on to automaticity. Well, what is it? As mentioned earlier, it's reading the words quickly and effortlessly, measured as a rate, okay, which is words correct per minute. So make sure we notice it's correct. There are different factors that affect reading rates. So genres, narratives tend to have a simpler vocabulary. Expository texts tend to include academic vocabulary. So as mentioned earlier, this can affect a student's reading rate. Prior background knowledge, so depending on what the student knows about a given topic, they may or may not be familiar with it. Students who tend to be familiar with a topic, oftentimes their reading rate may be slightly higher than a topic that they know nothing about. Okay, so automaticity, the when and the how. So when do we teach it? So in primary grades, we are developing phonics knowledge and decoding skills. So we're giving them that strong foundation to be able to have word attack skills and to be able to have that automatic sight of words. Okay, so how do we do this? We practice with sight words, reading decodable readers. So for example, if my class has been introduced some consonants and we're working on the short vowel A, a decodable would have a sentence like this: Sam sat on the mat. On and the would be our sight words, and then we have our short A. Predictable readers, these are stories or books that repeat a sentence pattern across several pages while changing one word that can be clearly deciphered. So usually there's some kind of visual cue as to what the word would be. So it might be a book about like family, like I love my mother. And then the next one would be like a dad. I love my father. So the students would definitely or would eventually choral read with you because it's a predictable reader. And reading out loud. And you'd want to encourage students to sound out words they don't know. Okay, so prosody, what is prosody? Okay, according to Rosinski, it is an area of fluency that involves reading orally in expressive, authentic ways that make speech more meaningful. This includes stress, intonation, and phrasing patterns. Prosody most commonly measured with rating scales like the NAEP Oral Reading Fluency Scale, and this one is in your Lipson and Wixon book. Okay, so the when and the how of prosody. So when do we teach it? Well, in primary grades, the focus is generally on accuracy and automaticity, but as a teacher, you are modeling the correct way to read a story. So you're reading with expression, intonation, your pitch is changing depending on what you're reading. Once automaticity is achieved, we can help our students work on prosody. Okay, well, how do we do that? Repeated readings. When reading, always model prosody. In the upper grades, when the vocabulary and sentence structure gets more challenging, you want to pre-teach vocabulary concepts and skills, and you also want to teach them that there's different structures to a sentence, and you want to model the correct phrasing for those complex structures. Okay, so I thought I would get this all in 15 minutes, but I failed again, but I will start up our part 2 with the winning definition.